This is going to be a lot for anyone who's reading it, but I seriously need to get this out there or I'm going to have a breakdown. I am going to keep this vague for obvious reasons. I'm a teacher in an independent all-boys primary school. I teach Year 6. I had this same class last year and did not face this issue then. The first time this happened was on the first week of term. I had set everyone off on an independent task researching and creating their own posters about endangered animals. I was doing some marking as they were doing this. When a boy comes up and whispers to me, "Sir Oscar is playing with his Willie," obviously fake name, I look over and it is immediately obvious what Oscar is doing. To put it bluntly, he was very clearly masturbating. From my desk I could see under his table and I could see everything. I froze for a moment, completely dumbstruck. Oscar has no known sen needs, is bright, usually displays an awareness of social norms and is popular in the class. I say to the boy who informed me of what was happening something like, "Thank you for letting me know," discreetly told him to wait there. I didn't want to shout because so far no one else had noticed what was happening and I didn't want to draw the class attention to Oscar. So I went to Oscar and crouched down next to him to talk to him. He did not stop as I crouched next to him. I still honestly didn't know what to say and ended up saying something like, "You need to stop doing that right now. Put your hands on the table," which he did immediately, yet he showed no embarrassment or really anything at all. I then said something like, "Put your private parts away, do your trousers up and follow me, right now," and I took him into the hallway. Honestly, my head was ringing. This is a sign of sexual abuse, and so I was really unsure how to navigate it at that moment. My little brother was sexually abused by his granddad, and him touching himself in class was one of the first ways the abuse was discovered, although he was a lot younger, but it is obviously something I am very aware of since as I would absolutely hate for anyone to have to go through what my brother went through. I asked Oscar why he was doing that. He shrugs. I go on to say about how private parts are private, should not be touching them in class or in front of others. Went over the private parts are private to you, and you only. You should not be showing them to others or touching them in public, and no one else should ask to see them or touch them. I made it clear he could come and talk to me at any time and that I would always be here to listen to any worries he had. I sent him to go and wash his hands, and then went to immediately log the incident on CPOMS. But DSL just shrugged off my concerns. "Oh, we have at least 3 boys every year who are caught doing that. It's not a big concern." I'm sorry, what? I pushed back about how it was a sign of sexual abuse and something that she may not have been concerned about, but I was, and she just shut me down and tried to minimize the situation and said something about how it wasn't even really worth logging, but now you've logged it so we can't change that. I have never heard of a child masturbating in class, except for my experience with my brother, and that obviously was a situation that needed logging. In that moment I felt really put down, in a way I had never felt before. I was made to feel like I was wasting her time and that I was overreacting, when I actually think I handled it correctly. I planned a lesson later in the week going over how private parts are private, the Pantosaurus song, etc. I obviously did not single Oscar out or even mention the earlier incident. And for a while after everything was fine. About 3 weeks later I caught Oscar again doing the same thing. I again sent him outside, firmly told him that wasn't acceptable behavior and that I did not want him to do it again, while also making it clear he could talk to me about worries. Despite what DSL said to me last time, I again logged the incident on CPOMS, how I dealt with it, and said something about how I would appreciate guidance on how to address this. I was again made to feel like I was wasting her time. I was given generic advice like stay calm, don't ask leading questions, etc., which is stuff I already know, but not anything specific to the situation I was dealing with. Not long after, Oscar was caught doing it again by a different boy who luckily came and told me directly as well instead of shouting it out in class, which I could see other boys in my class doing if they saw that. This time with Oscar I said, "If I catch you doing this again, you are going to be staying in for your entire break time. It is not an acceptable behavior to be doing in class. Maybe I should have come down that hard the first time, but that was such a messy and confusing situation. Other boys are being exposed to him doing this. It is not a fair situation. I again logged it on CPOMs, this time not even receiving a response from DSL other than noted. He was caught again. I gave the consequence I had said, and now I moved him from his table to a private table out of direct view of the other boys next to my desk. As it is simply not fair for anyone else to have to see him doing that, I logged this and logged that I moved his space as other children in the class had seen him touching himself and that I did not want them exposed to that. And at this point I contacted the NSPCC and passed on all relevant information. I was told it had been passed on to my area's child protection team. But I never heard anything back. After I moved it stopped for a while. But Monday of this week I caught him doing it again. I have frankly had enough of this now. I told SLT and the DSL that I am extremely concerned, and I feel that not enough is being done to support me or to combat what Oscar is doing. I asked that they arrange a meeting, with me, the DSL and parents, as in my opinion this has gone to an extreme point. I was told, oh, you know, we only really would do a meeting with the parents for extremely serious behaviors, and again I felt it was just minimized, although I was told DSL would have a quick chat with Oscar about it. Maybe I should have done this before, but my concerns are not being appropriately addressed, but I am unsure about what my next step should be. In my opinion, this is a clear and very big safeguarding concern, and they are simply not addressing it appropriately. They are not putting anything in place to safeguard the other pupils in my class. I keep having nightmares about this situation. I am struggling to sleep at night because it is constantly on my mind and I am feeling constant anxiety while Oscar is in class with me. It's currently 2:37 a.m. as I am writing this, although I probably won't post it until tomorrow, unable to sleep because it is worrying me so much. I don't want the children in my class to be exposed to Oscar masturbating, and I don't want to be exposed to Oscar masturbating in my class. I honestly am doubting my DSL's ability to adequately address this issue. I am going to tell her that if she does not take my concerns seriously and take them seriously now, I am going to report her to the school governors, and I am going to be making a report to the LADO, which I already did this morning. It's a disgrace how they are leaving this be. Thank you so much if you have read this. I am really stressed about this and I would really appreciate any advice.